Introduction: the power of a strong mind. The power of the mind is often underestimated. We tend to think that our physical abilities, external circumstances, or even our environment are the key determinants of success and happiness. However, it is our mental strength, the way we think, perceive, and respond to the world around us, that truly shapes the quality of our lives. A strong mind is more than just being mentally tough. It is about having clarity, the ability to make wise decisions under pressure, emotional balance, and the resilience to bounce back from challenges. In the Buddhist tradition, mental strength is not merely about enduring hardship, but about cultivating a mind that remains calm, clear, and focused no matter what life throws our way. Mental strength can often feel like an elusive quality, something that only a few people seem to possess in abundance. However, the truth is that we all have the potential to cultivate a strong mind. It is not a fixed trait, but something that can be developed through awareness, practice, and mindfulness. Buddhist teachings provide powerful insights into the nature of the mind and offer practical tools for cultivating mental strength. By integrating these teachings into our daily lives, we can transform our minds from being weak, reactive, and fearful to being strong, stable, and full of peace. When we understand that our thoughts directly influence our emotions, our actions, and ultimately the course of our lives, we realize just how crucial mental strength is to our well-being. A weak mind, constantly ruled by negative thoughts, fear, or doubt, can prevent us from reaching our full potential. But a strong mind, grounded in wisdom and clarity, can help us navigate life's challenges with grace and confidence. In this article, we will explore 10 common habits that can weaken our mental strength and, more importantly, how we can overcome them using Buddhist principles. By transforming these habits, we not only strengthen our minds but also enhance our overall quality of life, helping us live more intentionally and with a greater sense of peace. Let's begin this journey of self-discovery by first understanding the habits that often diminish our mental strength, and then explore how we can replace them with practices rooted in Buddhist wisdom to build a more resilient and powerful mind. Habit 1. Negative mindset. A negative mindset is one of the most powerful forces that weaken the mind. It is the constant inner dialogue that focuses on the bad rather than the good, on what's lacking rather than what's abundant, and on obstacles rather than opportunities. When we adopt a negative mindset, we often find ourselves trapped in a loop of self-doubt, pessimism, and fear. This habit can deeply affect not only our mental strength but also our physical health, relationships, and overall well-being. The Buddha's teachings, however, offer practical ways to transform this negativity into a source of strength. The nature of a negative mindset. A negative mindset is rooted in fear, insecurity, and attachment. We fear failure, loss, and change, which leads to a constant state of anxiety. This fear manifests as negative thoughts that tell us we're not good enough, we can't succeed, or that we are doomed to fail. These thoughts, when repeated over time, create a deep sense of despair and defeatism, eroding our confidence and diminishing our mental resilience. At its core, a negative mindset reflects the natural tendency of the mind to focus on the negative. The Buddha spoke extensively about the 3 poisons of the mind: greed, hatred, and delusion, which can manifest in our thoughts and actions. A negative mindset often arises from these poisons, as we are inclined to desire things we don't have, greed, react with anger or frustration to challenges, hatred, or become confused and lost in our misconceptions about ourselves and the world, delusion. These mental afflictions cloud our judgment and prevent us from seeing things as they truly are. The consequences of negative thinking. When we allow negative thoughts to take root, we create a distorted reality where we see ourselves and the world through a lens of pessimism. This mindset has several negative consequences. Increased stress and anxiety. Constantly focusing on what could go wrong or what has already gone wrong generates unnecessary stress. We become anxious about the future, fearful of failure, and trapped in a cycle of worry. Poor decision-making. A negative mindset often leads to decision-making based on fear or doubt. Rather than taking calculated risks or seeing the bigger picture, we may make choices driven by the desire to avoid discomfort, rather than choosing what is best for our long-term well-being. Limited growth and opportunity. When we are constantly worried about the negative, we fail to see the opportunities for growth. A negative mindset keeps us stuck in old patterns, making it difficult to move forward in life. We become resistant to change and may miss out on experiences that could help us learn and grow. Damaged relationships. A negative mindset doesn't just affect us individually, it also impacts our relationships with others. When we are constantly seeing the worst in people or situations, it becomes difficult to connect with others in a healthy and supportive way. This negativity can create distance and misunderstandings in our personal and professional lives. How Buddhist teachings can help. Buddhism offers profound insights into overcoming a negative mindset, not by suppressing negative thoughts, but by transforming the way we relate to them. The teachings of mindfulness and meditation are especially effective tools for cultivating a more positive and balanced mind. Mindfulness and awareness. One of the fundamental practices in Buddhism is mindfulness, the practice of being fully present in the moment. By becoming more mindful, we can begin to observe our thoughts without judgment. Instead of identifying with every negative thought, we learn to recognize them as just thoughts, not truths. This shift in perspective allows us to detach from the negativity and not let it dictate our emotional state. Reframing thoughts. Buddhist teachings encourage us to examine the nature of our thoughts and to cultivate wisdom in how we respond to them. This process involves reframing negative thoughts and replacing them with more positive, realistic alternatives. For example, instead of thinking "I will fail," we can replace it with "I can learn from my mistakes and improve." This practice of reframing is not about ignoring reality, but about viewing situations with a balanced and optimistic perspective. Impermanence. Anicca. The concept of impermanence is central to Buddhist philosophy. It teaches us that everything in life is temporary: our thoughts, emotions, and even challenges. When we remember that negative thoughts are not permanent, it becomes easier to let them go. By recognizing that feelings of fear or doubt are temporary, we can avoid letting them take over our minds and define our actions. Compassion and loving-kindness. Another powerful Buddhist practice is cultivating compassion, karuna, and loving-kindness, metta, both toward ourselves and others. Often, negative mindsets arise from a lack of self-compassion, where we are overly critical of ourselves. By practicing self-love and kindness, we shift our perspective, learning to treat ourselves with the same gentleness and care that we would offer a loved one. This practice can dissolve much of the negativity in our minds and promote a more balanced and positive view of life. Practical steps to overcome a negative mindset. Practice daily meditation. Start each day with a short meditation session, focusing on your breath and observing your thoughts. Let go of judgments and simply allow thoughts to come and go without attachment. This practice helps build mental clarity and a sense of calm that counteracts negativity. Challenge negative thoughts. When negative thoughts arise, take a moment to question their validity. Ask yourself, is this thought true? Is it helpful? What evidence do I have for this belief? Reframing negative thoughts helps break the cycle of negativity and fosters a more balanced mindset. Gratitude practice. Cultivating gratitude is a powerful antidote to negativity. Take a few moments each day to reflect on what you are grateful for. Whether it's the love of your family, the beauty of nature, or the simple joys of life, focusing on gratitude shifts your attention away from what is wrong and highlights what is right in your life. Surround yourself with positivity. The people and environments we engage with play a significant role in shaping our mindset. Try to spend time with positive, supportive individuals who uplift and inspire you. Avoid toxic relationships and environments that perpetuate negativity. Engage in acts of kindness. Doing something kind for others, whether it's a small gesture or a larger act of service, can help shift your focus from negative thoughts about yourself to positive actions that benefit others. Acts of kindness promote a sense of fulfillment and joy, helping to counteract the negativity in your mind. Habit 2. Complaining about things outside your control. Complaining about things outside our control is a common habit that significantly weakens our mental strength. It is an automatic response to situations we find frustrating, inconvenient, or unfair. We all complain at times, whether it's about the weather, traffic, work conditions, or other people's actions. However, when we constantly focus on things that we cannot change, it not only wastes our time and energy, but also reinforces a sense of helplessness and dissatisfaction in our lives. This habit can severely impact our mental resilience, turning us into passive victims of external circumstances rather than active creators of our reality. The nature of complaining about things beyond our control. When we complain about things outside our control, we're essentially acknowledging that we feel powerless. We have no control over external factors, but by complaining, we create an illusion of control. It may seem like a way to release frustration, but it often leads to more stress and negative emotions. Instead of focusing on finding solutions, we spend time and energy rehashing the problem, fueling our negative feelings. At the core of this habit is a misunderstanding of the nature of control itself. While we may not be able to control the external world, other people's behavior, unexpected events, or the broader circumstances in life, we do have control over how we respond to these things. Complaining about them is an indication that we are not exercising that control wisely. The consequences of complaining. Complaining about things beyond our control has a variety of negative consequences, both for our mental health and our overall well-being. Increased stress and frustration. Constant complaining about things outside our control keeps us in a state of frustration and agitation. We may feel upset because we can't change the situation, and this leads to stress. This stress is compounded by the fact that we're spending so much mental energy on something that we have no power over. Loss of personal power. Complaining positions us as victims rather than empowered individuals. By focusing on what is wrong with the world or others, we allow ourselves to feel helpless. This passive stance disempowers us and reduces our ability to take effective action to improve our own circumstances. Negative impact on relationships. When we constantly complain, it can affect the people around us. Negative energy can be contagious, and our complaints can create tension and frustration in our relationships. People may begin to avoid us or disengage because they are tired of hearing the same grievances without any action or resolution. Decreased problem-solving ability. Complaining distracts us from problem-solving. Instead of focusing on what we can do to improve the situation or adapt to it, we waste time ruminating on how unfair it is or how much it bothers us. This negative focus prevents us from seeing solutions or taking constructive actions that could make the situation better. The Buddhist perspective on complaining. Buddhist teachings offer profound wisdom on how to handle situations that are beyond our control. In Buddhism, the concept of dukkha, often translated as suffering or dissatisfaction, is central. Life is filled with challenges and difficulties. This is an inevitable part of existence. However, the way we respond to these challenges is what determines our experience of them. Understanding the nature of suffering. In Buddhism, we are taught that suffering is an inherent part of life. It is unrealistic to expect a life free from pain, loss, or inconvenience. Rather than complaining about these inevitable aspects of life, Buddhism encourages us to accept them and seek ways to alleviate the suffering within ourselves. Accepting that suffering is part of life helps us focus on how we can adapt to it rather than resist it. The importance of letting go. Complaining often arises when we hold on tightly to expectations or desires that are not being met. We might complain about the weather, for example, because we had a plan that got ruined. Buddhism teaches us to practice non-attachment, which means letting go of rigid expectations and accepting things as they are. When we stop clinging to how things should be, we can shift our energy away from complaining and towards finding peace with what is. Mindfulness in action. Mindfulness is a core practice in Buddhism that encourages us to be present with whatever arises without judgment. When we encounter a situation that is outside our control, mindfulness helps us to observe it with awareness and without reacting emotionally. Instead of complaining, we learn to accept the situation, acknowledge our feelings, and choose how to respond in a way that aligns with our values and well-being. Compassion and equanimity. Buddhist teachings emphasize equanimity, the ability to remain calm and balanced in the face of difficulties. By cultivating equanimity, we develop the ability to handle life's challenges without becoming overwhelmed by them. Compassion, both for ourselves and others, allows us to respond with kindness and understanding, rather than frustration or anger. Practical steps to stop complaining about things outside your control. Shift your focus to what you can control. Whenever you feel the urge to complain about something outside your control, stop and ask yourself, what can I do about this situation? Instead of focusing on the external event or person, turn your attention inward to your own responses and actions. Focus on how you can improve your mindset, learn from the situation, or take any small steps that can make the experience better. Practice gratitude. Cultivating gratitude can help shift your focus away from complaints and towards what you appreciate. Every time you catch yourself complaining, take a moment to think of something you're grateful for. This simple practice can help break the cycle of negativity and foster a more positive mindset. Use mindful breathing. When you feel the urge to complain, take a deep breath and practice mindfulness.
Focus on your breath and observe your toekomst.
This practice can help you step back from the emotional reaction and gain perspective on the situation, preventing you from falling into the habit of complaining. Reframe the situation. Instead of complaining, try to reframe the situation in a way that is more constructive. For example, if you're stuck in traffic, Instead of complaining about the inconvenience, you could view it as an opportunity to practice patience or to listen to an audiobook that helps you grow. Embrace acceptance. Embrace the Buddhist principle of acceptance. This doesn't mean you passively accept everything, but rather you accept that some things are outside your control and that your energy is better spent on the things you can influence. By embracing acceptance, you free yourself from the frustration of trying to control the uncontrollable. Habit 3. Not expressing yourself. Not expressing yourself fully is another common habit that weakens mental strength and resilience. It manifests in many ways, from withholding your feelings, desires, and opinions to avoiding confrontation or discussion of important matters. Whether it's out of fear of judgment, conflict, or rejection, the failure to express ourselves can cause significant harm to our mental and emotional well-being. While it might seem easier to stay silent, especially when faced with challenging situations, this habit of self-suppression can erode our sense of identity, stifle personal growth, and foster feelings of isolation or frustration. The nature of not expressing yourself. When we suppress our thoughts and emotions, we are essentially cutting ourselves off from our true selves. Expression is a natural human need. It allows us to share our inner world with others and to feel understood. When we fail to express ourselves, we end up living in a state of disconnection from those around us and even from our own emotions. Over time, this internal conflict between how we feel and what we allow others to see can lead to anxiety, stress, and a lack of authenticity in our lives. The reasons behind not expressing ourselves vary from person to person. Some fear confrontation, others fear rejection or being misunderstood. Many people withhold their thoughts because they have been taught to stay quiet or keep the peace. While it's true that discretion and patience can be valuable, consistently bottling up emotions or opinions takes a toll on our mental health. The consequences of not expressing yourself. The habit of not expressing yourself can have profound long-term effects on both your mental and physical health. Internalized stress and anxiety. Bottling up emotions can lead to heightened stress and anxiety. When we keep our thoughts and feelings to ourselves, they don't disappear. Instead, they accumulate inside, causing tension and restlessness. This internalized pressure can manifest as physical symptoms such as headaches, muscle tension, and digestive issues, as well as emotional symptoms like irritability and low mood. Loss of authenticity. By not expressing ourselves, we deny the world a chance to know the real us. Over time, this can lead to a sense of disconnection and isolation. We may feel that we are living a life that is not true to ourselves, which can contribute to feelings of sadness or even depression. Relationship strain. Healthy relationships are built on honest communication and mutual understanding. When we fail to express ourselves, we create a barrier between ourselves and others. This can lead to misunderstandings, unmet needs, and a lack of closeness. People may sense that something is wrong, but if we don't communicate, they can't offer support or help resolve the issue. Unresolved conflict. When we don't express ourselves in situations of conflict, issues remain unresolved. Resentment may build over time, creating a toxic dynamic. Rather than addressing concerns in a healthy way, we suppress them until they fester and grow. This makes it harder to address the root cause of the issue, causing it to resurface in more destructive ways. Missed opportunities. Not expressing yourself can result in missed opportunities for personal growth, success, and connection. When you withhold your ideas, desires, or emotions, you may miss the chance to achieve your goals, build meaningful relationships, or make the changes you desire in life. The Buddhist perspective on expression. Buddhism offers unique insight into the importance of expression, particularly through its teachings on right speech and right intention as part of the Noble Eightfold Path. These principles guide us to speak truthfully, kindly, and mindfully, and to be aware of the intentions behind our words. The importance of right speech. In Buddhism, right speech involves speaking truthfully, compassionately, and constructively. When we fail to express ourselves, we are often suppressing our truth, which can lead to a disconnection between our inner thoughts and the reality we present to others. Buddhism teaches us to express ourselves in ways that promote harmony, avoid harm, and contribute to our spiritual growth. This doesn't mean we must speak at every moment, but when we do, our words should reflect our inner peace and understanding. Non-harmful expression. One of the key teachings in Buddhism is ahimsa, the practice of non-harming. This principle suggests that we should express ourselves in ways that do not cause harm to others or ourselves. It's important to communicate our thoughts and feelings, but we must do so with mindfulness, ensuring that our words are kind and beneficial. Buddhist teachings emphasize that expressing ourselves authentically does not give us the right to lash out in anger or frustration. It requires us to find a balanced and thoughtful approach. The practice of mindful listening. Buddhism encourages mindful listening, both to ourselves and others. Before expressing ourselves, we are taught to first listen deeply to our own inner thoughts and emotions. This mindfulness allows us to gain clarity and understand the deeper motivations behind our feelings. Once we are clear, we can express ourselves in a more authentic, compassionate, and calm way. The role of non-attachment in expression. Buddhist teachings on non-attachment also inform how we express ourselves. We are encouraged to detach from the need for approval or validation from others. When we are free from attachment to how others will react, we are able to express ourselves more authentically and openly. This doesn't mean being careless with our words, but rather speaking from a place of inner peace, free from the fear of judgment. Practical steps to overcome the habit of not expressing yourself. Practice mindful self-reflection. Before expressing yourself, take time to reflect on your thoughts and emotions. Mindfulness can help you identify what you are feeling and why. By reflecting before reacting, you can gain insight into your true needs and desires, allowing you to express yourself with greater clarity and intention. Start small and build confidence. If expressing yourself feels difficult, start with small steps. Practice sharing your thoughts and feelings with people you trust, such as close friends or family members. As you build confidence in your ability to express yourself, you can gradually move on to more challenging situations, such as difficult conversations at work or with acquaintances. Use I statements. When expressing yourself, especially in challenging situations, use I statements to own your feelings. For example, instead of saying, "You never listen to me," say, "I feel unheard when I'm not given the chance to share my thoughts." This approach helps you express your emotions without blaming or accusing others, making the conversation more open and less defensive. Learn to set boundaries. Part of expressing yourself is knowing when to say no or to assert your needs. Setting boundaries is essential for maintaining mental health and well-being. Practice expressing your boundaries in a clear, respectful way, so that others understand your limits and needs without feeling threatened. Engage in creative expression. If verbal communication feels difficult, try expressing yourself through art, writing, music, or other creative outlets. Creative expression allows you to channel your emotions and thoughts in a healthy way, offering an alternative to bottling them up inside. Seek support or therapy. If you're struggling to express yourself due to past trauma or emotional blocks, consider seeking professional support. Therapy can help you uncover the root causes of your difficulties and provide tools to express yourself more freely and authentically. Habit 4. Blaming others for your problems. Blaming others for your problems is another habit that can significantly weaken your mental strength and resilience. It's an easy trap to fall into. When things go wrong, it's often comforting to point fingers and lay the blame on external circumstances, other people, or situations beyond your control. However, this habit keeps you stuck in a cycle of helplessness, preventing personal growth and the ability to find meaningful solutions to the challenges you face. The nature of blaming others. Blaming others comes from the belief that your circumstances are caused by forces or people outside of yourself. It's a way of deflecting responsibility and, in the process, avoiding the uncomfortable work of introspection and growth. When you blame someone else for your problems, you are relinquishing your power to change the situation. You place yourself in the position of the victim, unable to take proactive steps toward improving your life. At first glance, blaming others may seem like a protective mechanism, a way to maintain your sense of self-worth or to avoid guilt or shame. It's easy to find solace in the idea that your challenges are someone else's fault, especially when the situation feels unjust. However, this mindset only provides short-term relief and leads to long-term consequences for both your mental health and your relationships. The psychological and emotional costs of blaming others. Blaming others may seem like an instinctive way to cope, but it actually costs you more than it gives. Disempowerment. When you blame others, you effectively give away your power to control your own life. You're telling yourself that you are at the mercy of external factors, and this mindset prevents you from taking ownership of your circumstances. Without taking responsibility, you're less likely to actively work toward solutions. Empowering yourself, on the other hand, means realizing that while you can't control everything that happens to you, you always have the power to control how you respond. Perpetuating victimhood. Consistently blaming others keeps you in a perpetual state of victimhood. You see yourself as someone who is always at the mercy of others' actions or decisions. This mentality can lead to feelings of resentment, frustration, and helplessness, as you view yourself as powerless in changing your situation. Over time, this sense of victimhood can rob you of your sense of agency, and you may start to feel like life is something that happens to you, rather than something you can actively shape. Relationship strain. Blaming others for your problems can severely strain your relationships. When you shift responsibility for your issues onto someone else, the other person may feel unfairly targeted or misunderstood. Over time, this can cause bitterness, defensiveness, and even resentment, leading to breakdowns in communication and trust. Healthy relationships are built on mutual understanding and shared responsibility. When you blame others, you undermine these qualities, making it harder to maintain meaningful connections. Stunted personal growth. Growth and progress are driven by self-awareness, accountability, and the willingness to learn from your experiences. When you focus on blaming others, you miss the opportunity to reflect on your own role in the situation. This lack of self-reflection prevents you from recognizing patterns in your behavior that could be contributing to your problems. If you continually avoid the work of self-improvement by blaming others, you'll remain stagnant, unable to move forward or develop new coping strategies. Increased stress and anxiety. Living with a mindset of blame increases your levels of stress and anxiety. When you feel that external factors or people are responsible for your problems, you place yourself in a constant state of reactivity, rather than focusing on proactive solutions. Anxiety arises from feeling like you have no control over your circumstances, while stress increases from the internal conflict of trying to fight against external forces. The Buddhist perspective on blame. Buddhism offers valuable teachings on responsibility and the impermanent nature of life, which challenge the habit of blaming others. In Buddhist philosophy, suffering, dukkha, is often seen as an inevitable part of existence, arising from the attachment to desires, expectations, and perceptions of control. Rather than looking for someone to blame for our suffering, Buddhism teaches us to look inward and examine our own attachments and responses. Interdependence and non-self. Anatta. One of the core teachings in Buddhism is the concept of interdependence, or pratatya samutpada. This principle teaches us that everything is interconnected and that nothing exists independently. Our experiences are shaped by a complex web of causes and conditions, many of which are outside of our control. The idea of blaming others implies a misunderstanding of the interconnected nature of life. It places an unrealistic burden of blame on an individual or situation, ignoring the larger context of causes that contribute to any given outcome. Furthermore, Buddhism teaches that there is no permanent self, no entity that is entirely separate and independent. This understanding helps us move away from the tendency to view ourselves as the victim or the person responsible for everything that happens. By recognizing that we are part of a larger interconnected whole, we can let go of blame and focus on cultivating mindfulness, compassion, and wisdom. Mindfulness and responsibility. Buddhism encourages mindfulness and self-awareness as a means of understanding and changing our responses to situations. Rather than blaming others, we can use mindfulness to observe our reactions, recognize the habitual patterns of thought, and take responsibility for how we respond. By focusing on our thoughts, feelings, and actions, we can develop a greater understanding of our role in the situation and work to change our responses. The practice of forgiveness. Another key Buddhist teaching is forgiveness, not just of others, but also of ourselves. Holding on to blame, whether directed at others or ourselves, only perpetuates suffering. Forgiveness allows us to release these negative emotions and cultivate compassion. By letting go of blame, we free ourselves from the emotional burden that comes with it, opening up space for healing and growth. Letting go of attachment to outcomes. Buddhism teaches the importance of letting go of attachment to specific outcomes. When we blame others, we often do so because we feel entitled to a certain outcome or expect life to unfold in a particular way. By releasing attachment to outcomes, we can find peace in the present moment, regardless of external circumstances. Practical steps to overcome the habit of blaming others. Cultivate self-awareness. The first step in overcoming the habit of blaming others is to develop greater self-awareness. Reflect on the situations in which you tend to blame others, and consider your own role in those situations. Ask yourself how your own actions, beliefs, or attitudes might have contributed to the outcome. Self-awareness empowers you to take responsibility for your own experiences and recognize the areas in which you can make a change. Shift your focus to solutions. Rather than focusing on the problem or assigning blame, shift your attention to finding solutions. Ask yourself, What can I do to improve this situation? Or how can I learn and grow from this experience? Shifting your focus from blame to proactive problem solving helps you regain a sense of agency and control over your life. Practice empathy and understanding. Often, we blame others because we fail to understand their perspective. Take time to listen and understand the motivations and challenges of the other person involved. Empathy can help dissolve feelings of anger or resentment, fostering a more compassionate approach to resolving conflicts. Develop the habit of accountability. Make it a practice to hold yourself accountable for your actions and decisions. Instead of blaming others for the outcomes, recognize your own contributions to the situation. This doesn't mean taking on guilt, but rather accepting responsibility in a constructive way. Accountability empowers you to change your behavior and make better decisions in the future. Let go of victimhood. The mindset of blaming others often comes from a place of victimhood. Challenge the belief that you are powerless in your circumstances. Embrace the reality that while you can't control everything that happens, you have the power to choose your responses and shape your life moving forward. Forgive and move forward. Practice forgiveness, both for others and yourself. Let go of grudges and resentment, as these only weigh you down emotionally. Forgiveness is not about excusing wrongdoing, but about releasing the hold that negative emotions have on your life. Habit 5. Fantasizing instead of visualizing goals. Fantasizing and visualizing may seem similar on the surface, but they are fundamentally different in how they influence your mindset and drive your actions. Fantasizing involves indulging in daydreams about how things could be or imagining idealized scenarios without any clear plan of action. On the other hand, visualization is a purposeful, focused practice where you mentally rehearse achieving specific goals, aligning your thoughts and actions toward a tangible outcome. Many people have big dreams and aspirations, but they often fall into the trap of fantasizing about them rather than actively visualizing the steps they need to take to achieve those goals. Fantasizing can be a way to escape the discomfort of reality, but it doesn't lead to concrete progress. In contrast, visualization as a practice is about turning your dreams into actionable plans and developing the mental clarity to make them a reality. The nature of fantasizing. Fantasizing is an escape mechanism. It allows you to temporarily live out your idealized version of reality, providing instant gratification and a sense of pleasure without requiring any effort or action. When you fantasize, your mind drifts into a world where everything is perfect, where all your desires and dreams come true without obstacles or challenges. This can feel exhilarating in the moment, but it doesn't move you closer to your actual goals. Fantasizing can be harmless in moderation. It can even provide temporary relief from stress or help you envision possibilities. However, when it becomes a habitual way of thinking, it prevents you from taking necessary steps toward your goals. Instead of actively engaging with reality and putting in the hard work, you may become stuck in a cycle of what-ifs and someday thinking. This endless mental escape can lead to a sense of complacency, where you feel good about the idea of your goals but fail to take the necessary actions to make them happen. The consequences of fantasizing over visualization. While fantasizing might offer fleeting moments of joy or satisfaction, it can have long-term detrimental effects on your mental strength and personal growth. Procrastination. When you indulge in fantasies about your ideal life, it can trick your brain into thinking you're already on the right track. This false sense of achievement can lead to procrastination, as you feel like you've already experienced success in your mind, diminishing the urgency to act. The longer you stay in this daydreaming state, the further you drift from taking real action toward your goals. Unrealistic expectations. Fantasizing can lead you to develop unrealistic expectations about the future. Since daydreams often lack the complexities and challenges of reality, you might begin to believe that success will come effortlessly. This mindset can make it harder to deal with setbacks or obstacles when they inevitably arise. In contrast, visualization includes a more grounded understanding of the difficulties ahead, helping you prepare mentally and emotionally to face challenges. Lack of focus and direction. Fantasizing about a goal can leave you feeling excited for a brief moment, but without a clear action plan, that excitement fades quickly. Instead of maintaining a steady focus on your goals, you may bounce between ideas and desires, unable to commit to one path. This scattered focus prevents you from making meaningful progress in any area of your life. Visualization, however, involves clarity, focus, and a structured approach that helps you stay on track. False sense of achievement. When you fantasize about achieving your goals, you may experience an emotional high that feels similar to actual accomplishment. This can create a false sense of progress, as if you've already completed the work required. In reality, however, this emotional satisfaction does not translate into tangible results. The gap between the fantasy world and reality remains, leaving you feeling unfulfilled and frustrated over time. Mental disengagement. Prolonged fantasizing can cause you to mentally disengage from your present situation. Instead of addressing your current circumstances, taking action, and creating opportunities, you may withdraw into an imaginary world that offers no practical value. This disengagement from reality can leave you feeling disconnected from your true desires and lead to a sense of stagnation. The power of visualization. Visualization, on the other hand, is a practice that connects your desires with intentional action. It involves mentally rehearsing your success by focusing on your goals with clarity and purpose. In visualization, you use your imagination to see yourself achieving your goals, but with a realistic understanding of the obstacles and efforts required. This method not only strengthens your mental resolve, but also sets you on a path of consistent action and growth. Creating a clear path forward, visualization helps you break down big goals into manageable steps. By mentally picturing yourself achieving your goal, you can see the challenges you may face along the way. For example, if you're working toward a career goal, visualization might include not just imagining a promotion, but also mentally rehearsing the steps to get there, improving your skills, networking with key individuals, or demonstrating leadership. Enhancing motivation and commitment. When you visualize success, you connect emotionally to the outcome. This connection fuels your motivation, as you vividly picture the satisfaction and rewards of achieving your goal. Visualization also strengthens your commitment, as you create a mental roadmap that makes it easier to stay focused on the task at hand, even when motivation wanes. Building resilience. Visualization can prepare you for setbacks and obstacles. By imagining potential challenges, you mentally rehearse how to overcome them. This process of mental preparation strengthens your resilience, making it easier to deal with difficulties when they arise in real life. Unlike fantasizing, which offers no preparation for reality, visualization teaches you to approach obstacles with a proactive and solution-oriented mindset. Training your subconscious mind. Your subconscious mind plays a powerful role in shaping your behavior and decisions. When you consistently visualize your goals, you program your subconscious to believe that success is attainable. This can influence your actions and decisions in ways that align with your goals. Visualization helps to remove doubts, fears, and limiting beliefs, replacing them with a mindset of possibility and self-belief. Manifesting your desires. Visualization isn't about simply imagining things happening without effort. Instead, it's about aligning your thoughts, emotions, and actions with the goals you want to achieve. When you visualize regularly, you reinforce your intentions and strengthen your belief that you can make your goals a reality. This alignment increases your chances of taking decisive action and staying committed, ultimately leading to success. Buddhist insights on visualization versus fantasizing. From a Buddhist perspective, the distinction between fantasizing and visualization can be understood in terms of right intention and right action. Two key components of the Noble Eightfold Path. Right intention. Fantasizing often arises from attachment to desire or an escape from present circumstances, which leads to mental distractions and dissatisfaction. In contrast, visualization is rooted in the right intention, which involves setting clear, purposeful goals based on the wisdom of your true nature and the interconnectedness of all beings. Right intention helps you focus on what is important and achievable, rather than getting lost in the illusions of idealized fantasies. Mindful action. Visualization encourages mindfulness and intentional action. Buddhist teachings emphasize the importance of right action, which involves acting with awareness and in alignment with your values. Unlike fantasizing, which can be passive and detached from reality, visualization invites you to engage with life in a mindful and purposeful way, taking the necessary steps toward your goals. The middle way. Fantasizing often leads to extremes, either an idealized vision of perfection or a sense of despair from feeling distant from your goals. Visualization, when practiced with the principles of the middle way, encourages balance. It helps you recognize the impermanence of all things and the importance of taking measured steps toward your objectives, without attachment to outcomes or expectations. Practical steps to replace fantasizing with visualization. Set specific, measurable goals. The first step to effective visualization is to establish clear, actionable goals. Break down large, long-term aspirations into smaller, achievable objectives. The more specific your goals, the easier it is to visualize the steps necessary to achieve them. Create a mental picture of success, Once you have a goal in mind, take time each day to vividly imagine what it will look like when you achieve it. Use all of your senses to make the experience as real as possible. The clearer and more detailed your mental picture, the more powerful your visualization practice will be. Visualize the process, not just the end result. Don't just focus on the final destination. Visualize the process of getting there, including the obstacles you might face and how you will overcome them. This will prepare you mentally for the journey and make you more resilient when challenges arise. Use affirmations to reinforce your visualization. Along with visualizing your goals, use positive affirmations to strengthen your belief in your ability to achieve them. Repeat statements like, "I am capable of achieving my dreams," or "I am taking steps every day toward my goal." Practice daily. Consistency is key to effective visualization. Make it a part of your daily routine. Spend a few minutes each day imagining your success and rehearsing the steps required to get there. The more you practice, the more you train your mind to focus on what's truly important. Habit 6. Dwelling on the past. Dwelling on the past is one of the most common mental habits that prevent people from moving forward in their lives. While it is natural to reflect on past experiences, spending too much time ruminating over them can trap you in a cycle of regret, guilt, and nostalgia. This habit is deeply ingrained in many people's minds, often without them even realizing how it hinders their mental strength and personal growth. Living in the past, whether it's obsessing over mistakes, reliving painful moments, or longing for better times, prevents you from fully engaging with the present and planning for the future. Your mind becomes entangled in memories that no longer serve you, and this detachment from the present moment can cause unnecessary stress, emotional pain, and stagnation in your life. The nature of dwelling on the past. At its core, dwelling on the past involves an inability to let go of previous experiences, often due to unresolved emotions. It's not just remembering the past, it's constantly replaying those memories, whether they're painful or filled with longing. When you focus too much on what has already happened, your mind becomes preoccupied with what-ifs and if-onlys, which prevents you from being truly present in the here and now. People who dwell on the past often find it difficult to move forward. They may feel that their past mistakes or traumas define them, or they may cling to past successes, living in a time that no longer exists. In both cases, the present becomes a shadow of what could have been, and the future feels uncertain or impossible to reach. The emotional toll of dwelling on the past. While reflecting on the past can sometimes be valuable for personal growth, constantly dwelling on it can lead to several negative emotional and psychological consequences. Regret and guilt. Many people get trapped in a cycle of regret, replaying their past mistakes over and over in their minds. They ask themselves questions like, "Why didn't I do this differently?" Or "What if I had made a different decision?" This regret creates emotional pain and keeps them anchored to the past, making it harder to enjoy the present or make future decisions with confidence. Guilt from past actions, even when the past is beyond your control, can also affect your self-worth and self-esteem. Nostalgia and yearning. For some, dwelling on the past isn't about regret or mistakes, but about longing for what they perceive as better times. The past often becomes an idealized version of itself, and people may look back with nostalgia, wishing for the days when life seemed simpler or more fulfilling. While this kind of yearning isn't as negative as regret, it still causes disconnection from the present and prevents the individual from appreciating their current situation. Perpetuating trauma. Past traumas, whether from childhood, relationships, or other painful experiences, often continue to haunt the person who dwells on them. The mind continually revisits these traumatic events, re-triggering the emotional pain and reinforcing the belief that the past has a power over the present. This cycle of trauma can prevent healing and growth, keeping the individual stuck in a perpetual state of emotional distress. Missed opportunities. When you spend too much time thinking about the past, you miss the opportunities in the present. Whether it's relationships, career advancement, or personal growth, constantly looking backward keeps your focus away from the possibilities in front of you. You may feel paralyzed or unmotivated to take action because your energy is focused on the past instead of creating new experiences. The consequences of dwelling on the past. Impaired decision-making. Dwelling on the past can cloud your judgment. When you're emotionally attached to past experiences, whether they were successes or failures, you're less likely to make objective decisions in the present. Regret can lead to indecision, fear of making mistakes, or overthinking every move, while nostalgia can result in unrealistic expectations and a lack of willingness to embrace change. Emotional exhaustion. Constantly replaying past events and reliving emotions from those experiences takes a significant mental toll. It exhausts your emotional resources and can make you feel drained and disconnected from your own feelings. Emotional exhaustion limits your ability to engage with life fully and impacts your mental health, leading to anxiety, depression, or even feelings of hopelessness. Stagnation in personal growth. Growth requires moving forward, adapting to change, and learning from your experiences. By staying attached to the past, you deprive yourself of the opportunity to learn and evolve. The past, while important for context and reflection, cannot offer you the lessons you need to improve your life. Staying stagnant in past events prevents you from creating new, positive experiences and hinders your personal development. A distorted sense of self. The more you identify with past experiences, whether they're mistakes, traumas, or achievements, the more they define who you believe yourself to be. When you hold on to these past narratives, they begin to shape your present identity. You might see yourself as a failure because of past mistakes or as someone who was once successful but no longer is. This limits your ability to grow, as you're defined by something that no longer exists. The role of mindfulness in letting go of the past. From a Buddhist perspective, the habit of dwelling on the past can be seen as a form of attachment. In Buddhism, attachment is considered one of the root causes of suffering because it ties you to something that is impermanent and constantly changing. By clinging to the past, whether it's memories, identities, or experiences, you create suffering in the present, as these things are no longer present in your life. The Buddha taught that one of the keys to overcoming suffering is the practice of mindfulness, remaining aware of the present moment without attachment or judgment. Mindfulness helps you observe your thoughts and emotions without becoming entangled in them. By practicing mindfulness, you can begin to recognize when you're getting stuck in the past and gently bring your focus back to the present. Practical steps to stop dwelling on the past. Acknowledge the past, but don't live there. It's important to acknowledge the past for what it is, a series of events that have shaped who you are today. However, it's equally important not to live in it. Allow yourself to reflect on the past in a healthy way, but don't let it control your present or future. Understand that the past is gone, and what you can control is the present moment and your future actions. Practice forgiveness. One of the most powerful ways to let go of the past is through forgiveness. This includes forgiving yourself for past mistakes, letting go of regrets, and releasing resentment toward others. Forgiveness is not about excusing negative behavior or forgetting past pain. It's about freeing yourself from the burden of emotional attachment to past wrongs. When you forgive, you give yourself the mental and emotional space to move forward. Shift your focus to the present. When you find yourself dwelling on the past, gently redirect your attention to the present moment. Practice mindfulness by focusing on your breath, the sensations in your body, or the sounds around you. This helps anchor you to the present and prevents you from getting lost in thoughts of the past. By cultivating mindfulness, you can slowly train your mind to stay in the now. Set new goals and take action. A great way to stop dwelling on the past is to create a vision for your future. Set new, meaningful goals that excite you and require you to focus on the present. Take concrete steps toward achieving these goals, and celebrate your progress. The more you focus on creating positive experiences in the present and future, the less time you'll have to dwell on what has already passed. Seek support if needed. If your past is causing emotional pain or holding you back from moving forward, consider seeking support from a therapist, counselor, or trusted friend. Talking through your feelings and experiences can help you process them in a healthy way, allowing you to let go of the past and embrace the present moment. Habit 7. Fearing failure. Fear of failure is one of the most paralyzing habits that prevent individuals from achieving their full potential. This fear manifests in various ways: hesitation to take risks, avoiding challenges, and a constant need for perfection. While failure is often seen as something to be avoided at all costs, it is, in fact, an essential part of growth, learning, and success. Fear of failure often stems from deep-seated insecurities, societal pressures, or past experiences that shape one's belief system. However, those who fear failure miss out on opportunities for growth and self-improvement. This habit not only undermines self-confidence, but also limits your ability to pursue your dreams and ambitions. Understanding the fear of failure. Fear of failure can be described as an irrational fear or anxiety that arises when facing situations where there's a potential to not succeed. The root causes of this fear can be traced back to early childhood experiences, societal conditioning, or previous failures that were emotionally painful. When people experience failure and do not receive adequate emotional support or understanding, they may begin to associate failure with a sense of personal inadequacy. This fear can take on different forms. For some, it may cause procrastination or avoidance of important tasks. For others, it might manifest as perfectionism, where individuals feel the need to do everything perfectly to avoid failure. No matter how it presents itself, the result is the same. It keeps people from taking the necessary actions to achieve their goals and dreams. The emotional and mental impact of fearing failure. When you fear failure, your mind becomes overwhelmed with negative emotions such as anxiety, shame, and self-doubt. Instead of focusing on the possibilities and potential of new opportunities, you become consumed by the fear of not measuring up. These emotions cloud your judgment, making it difficult to think clearly and rationally. As a result, you might hold yourself back from stepping out of your comfort zone, preventing yourself from reaching new heights. The emotional toll of fearing failure can also lead to chronic stress and burnout. When you avoid taking action due to fear, you put immense pressure on yourself to remain in a state of inaction, which only leads to frustration and negative self-talk. Instead of seeing failure as a learning experience, you view it as something to be avoided at all costs, thus perpetuating the fear and keeping you stuck in your current situation. The negative consequences of fearing failure. Inability to take risks. Fear of failure often paralyzes you from taking any form of risk. You might opt for the safest option, even if it means staying in a situation that is unsatisfying or unfulfilling. By avoiding risks, you forego opportunities for personal growth, achievement, and success. True progress, whether in your career, relationships, or personal life, requires stepping outside your comfort zone and facing the unknown. Stunted growth. Failure is a natural part of the learning process. Every successful person has encountered failure at some point. In fact, failure is one of the best teachers, as it offers valuable lessons and insights. However, if you fear failure, you may miss these lessons and remain stagnant. This habit stops you from experimenting, trying new things, and growing as a person. The more you avoid failure, the more you limit your ability to develop the skills, resilience, and knowledge needed for success. Perfectionism. People who fear failure often become perfectionists. The desire to avoid failure leads them to set unrealistically high standards for themselves. The pursuit of perfection can be exhausting and ultimately counterproductive, as nothing will ever seem good enough. Perfectionism leads to dissatisfaction and a constant sense of failure, even if outwardly there is no clear failure. This self-imposed pressure can cause burnout and erode self-esteem. Missed opportunities. Failure is inevitable on the path to success, but it's often through our failures that we learn and adapt. If you constantly fear failure, you will avoid opportunities that have the potential for great reward. Every opportunity, whether it's a job, relationship, or creative pursuit, involves some level of risk. When you fear failure, you miss out on the potential rewards that come with taking risks. Your growth and progress will be limited by your unwillingness to step out of your comfort zone. Lack of self-confidence. Constantly fearing failure leads to a lack of belief in yourself and your abilities. The more you focus on what could go wrong, the less you focus on what could go right. This leads to self-doubt, a lack of self-trust, and an inability to make confident decisions. When you are consumed by the fear of failure, you may feel powerless to make the changes necessary to create the life you want. The role of Buddhism in overcoming the fear of failure. In Buddhism, the concept of attachment is crucial to understanding why fear of failure can be so detrimental. According to Buddhist teachings, attachment to the idea of success or fear of failure stems from an over-identification with the ego, which is the self-concept that desires outcomes based on external validation. The Buddha taught that suffering arises when we are attached to outcomes and results because they are fleeting and impermanent. One of the key teachings of Buddhism is the practice of non-attachment. This doesn't mean that you stop caring about your goals or aspirations, but it means that you free yourself from the pressure of needing a particular result. When you approach life with a sense of detachment, you become more resilient in the face of challenges and setbacks. You learn to accept failure as a natural part of the human experience and view it not as a reflection of your worth, but as an opportunity to learn and grow. Mindfulness and meditation are also valuable tools for managing the fear of failure. Mindfulness encourages you to stay present in the moment without judgment. Instead of worrying about the potential failure of future actions, you can focus on the task at hand with a calm, clear mind. Meditation helps you observe your thoughts and emotions without becoming overwhelmed by them. allowing you to face fears and anxieties directly without letting them control you. Practical steps to overcome the fear of failure. Reframe your view of failure. Begin by shifting your perspective on failure. Instead of seeing it as a negative outcome, start viewing it as an opportunity for growth. Understand that failure is not permanent. It's a part of the journey towards success. Every time you fail, you gain experience and wisdom that will help you make better decisions in the future. With this mindset, failure becomes a stepping stone, not a roadblock. Take small risks. If the fear of failure is overwhelming, start by taking small risks in your everyday life. This could be trying something new at work, having a difficult conversation, or pursuing a hobby you've been avoiding. By taking small steps outside of your comfort zone, you build resilience and confidence. As you experience success and failure in these small risks, you'll become more comfortable with the idea of failure and learn how to move forward. Focus on effort, not outcome. One way to overcome the fear of failure is to focus on the effort you put in rather than the outcome. When you focus on doing your best and taking action, you remove the pressure of needing to succeed. This approach helps you build confidence in your abilities and makes it easier to take risks, knowing that the process itself is valuable, regardless of the result. Embrace imperfection. Perfectionism often stems from the fear of failure. Accept that nothing in life is perfect, and that mistakes are a natural part of the human experience. When you allow yourself to make mistakes without judgment, you free yourself from the grip of perfectionism and fear. Embrace the idea that mistakes are opportunities to learn, not things to be ashamed of. Seek support from others. Fear of failure can be isolating, but it doesn't have to be. Surround yourself with people who encourage you and understand the value of failure as part of the growth process. Whether it's a mentor, friend, or community, having people who support you and remind you that failure is a normal part of life can help you face your fears and take risks with more confidence. Habit 8. Overthinking and overanalyzing. Overthinking and overanalyzing are habits that often go unnoticed, but they can be extremely detrimental to mental well-being and overall productivity. These behaviors involve constantly ruminating on past events or obsessively analyzing future possibilities. While thinking deeply about situations can sometimes be helpful, when taken to extremes, overthinking becomes counterproductive, leading to stress, anxiety, and indecision. It causes a person to get stuck in a loop of unnecessary thoughts, where they are paralyzed by endless possibilities and what-ifs, rather than taking action. People who overthink often experience a sense of being overwhelmed by their thoughts, which can result in emotional and physical exhaustion. These habits tend to distort one's perception of reality, leading them to magnify problems, create worst-case scenarios, and second-guess decisions. Over time, this creates a pattern of avoidance, as the person feels unable to make clear decisions or act decisively. Overthinking might seem harmless at first, but it prevents growth, keeps you stuck in the past or future, and prevents you from living in the present moment. The roots of overthinking and overanalyzing. Overthinking doesn't happen in isolation. It's often tied to deeper emotional or psychological concerns. One of the main triggers of overthinking is fear. Fear of making the wrong decision, fear of failure, or fear of disappointing others can all fuel a cycle of overanalysis. People who are perfectionists or have a high need for control are particularly prone to overthinking. The desire to find the perfect solution, or to understand every possible outcome, leads to a constant analysis of every detail. Another factor that contributes to overthinking is a lack of confidence. When individuals are unsure of their choices or abilities, they are more likely to overanalyze every decision in an attempt to gain certainty. This can be seen in situations ranging from making small day-to-day decisions, such as choosing what to wear, to larger life choices, such as making career decisions or entering relationships. Overthinking can also be a way of avoiding discomfort. By continually analyzing a situation, individuals may feel they are gaining control over an uncertain future. In reality, this often prevents them from taking the necessary actions to move forward. It can also be linked to past experiences, particularly those in which an individual made a mistake or felt regret. The mind may return to these moments again and again, trying to make sense of what went wrong, but ultimately failing to bring closure. The emotional and mental toll of overthinking. Overthinking takes a significant toll on one's mental and emotional health. It creates mental clutter, which can be exhausting. The mind gets bogged down with excessive thoughts, leading to a lack of clarity and focus. This constant mental noise can leave a person feeling mentally drained, as though they are constantly thinking but getting nowhere. Stress and anxiety. One of the most immediate consequences of overthinking is an increase in stress and anxiety. As the mind runs through endless scenarios and potential outcomes, it can trigger feelings of panic, dread, and unease. This overactive mental state activates the body's stress response, leading to physical symptoms such as increased heart rate, tightness in the chest, and shallow breathing. Indecision and paralysis. Overthinking often leads to indecision, as individuals get caught in the cycle of weighing every possible outcome and worrying about the consequences of making the wrong choice. This paralysis by analysis prevents people from moving forward, leaving them stuck in a loop of inaction. The more time spent overthinking, the more overwhelming the decision-making process becomes, often leading to procrastination. Emotional exhaustion. The continuous cycle of overthinking can lead to emotional exhaustion. When your mind is constantly analyzing situations, it depletes your energy and reduces your capacity to enjoy the present moment. Over time, this can lead to feelings of burnout, frustration, and hopelessness. It becomes difficult to feel satisfied or at peace with any decision, as your mind is constantly searching for flaws or potential pitfalls. Low self-esteem. Overthinking also chips away at self-confidence. By constantly questioning your decisions and second-guessing yourself, you undermine your ability to trust your judgment. This lack of self-trust contributes to self-doubt, and in extreme cases, can lead to feelings of incompetence or inadequacy. The negative consequences of overthinking. Missed opportunities. Overthinking often causes people to miss opportunities. When you are stuck in analysis mode, you delay or avoid taking action altogether. This delay in decision-making can cause you to lose out on potential experiences, relationships, or career advancements. The longer you take to make a choice, the more likely the opportunity will pass you by, leaving you with feelings of regret. Escalating problems. Rather than resolving problems, overthinking amplifies them. As you analyze and reanalyze a situation, you tend to focus on the negative aspects, magnifying the perceived issue. What may initially seem like a minor problem can escalate in your mind, creating unnecessary stress. This overexaggeration of issues can cause you to feel overwhelmed by challenges that might otherwise be manageable if approached with a calm, rational mindset. Strained relationships. Overthinking doesn't just affect your mental and emotional health, it also takes a toll on your relationships. When you overanalyze your interactions with others, you might misinterpret their words or actions. This can lead to misunderstandings, unnecessary conflict, and the breakdown of trust. You may find yourself excessively questioning the motives or feelings of those around you, which can lead to friction and strain in relationships. Wasted time. Time is one of the most precious resources, and overthinking is a major time waster. Instead of spending your energy on productive tasks or enjoying life, you get stuck in endless loops of thought. You lose precious moments that could be spent in meaningful action, building relationships, or achieving goals. The time spent overthinking is often counterproductive, as it does not contribute to resolving issues but only prolongs anxiety and uncertainty. The role of Buddhism in overcoming overthinking. Buddhism offers practical tools and techniques for overcoming the habit of overthinking. One of the central teachings in Buddhism is mindfulness, the practice of being fully present in the moment without judgment. By practicing mindfulness, you can learn to observe your thoughts without becoming attached to them. This helps break the cycle of overthinking by allowing you to let go of excessive mental chatter. The Buddha also taught the concept of right effort as part of the Noble Eightfold Path. Right effort involves cultivating positive mental states and avoiding harmful mental states such as excessive worry or attachment to thoughts. By focusing your efforts on developing a calm and peaceful mind, you can reduce the tendency to overanalyze situations. Meditation is another important practice in Buddhism that can help quiet the mind and reduce overthinking. Regular meditation allows you to sit with your thoughts and emotions, giving you the space to observe them without judgment. Over time, this practice can help you detach from the constant flow of thoughts and reduce the tendency to ruminate. Practical steps to overcome overthinking. Practice mindfulness. One of the most effective ways to combat overthinking is to practice mindfulness. Focus on the present moment, paying attention to your breath, physical sensations, or the task at hand. Whenever you catch yourself overthinking, gently bring your focus back to the present. This helps you break free from the cycle of rumination and reduces mental clutter. Set time limits for decision-making. To avoid endless analysis, set a specific time frame for making decisions. Allow yourself to think about a situation for a limited amount of time, and once that time is up, make your decision and move forward. This prevents you from getting caught in a never-ending cycle of overthinking and forces you to trust your instincts. Write down your thoughts. Writing down your thoughts can help you organize and make sense of them. It allows you to clear your mind and put things into perspective. Once your thoughts are on paper, you may realize that they are not as overwhelming as they seemed in your mind. This practice helps you gain clarity and reduces the mental clutter that fuels overthinking. Take action, even if it's small. Taking action is one of the best ways to stop overthinking. When you take steps toward a solution, it forces you to move out of the analysis phase and into the implementation phase. Even if the action is small, it helps you gain momentum and reduces the power that overthinking has over you.
Practice self-compassion. Be kind to yourself when you catch yourself overthinking.
Recognize that everyone experiences this at times, and it's okay to have moments of uncertainty. Instead of criticizing yourself, treat yourself with compassion and understanding. This helps you break the cycle of overthinking and move forward with greater ease. Habit 9. Resisting change. Resisting change is a deeply ingrained habit that many people struggle with, whether they realize it or not. The fear of the unknown, the comfort of the status quo, and the natural human tendency to avoid discomfort often lead us to resist change in various forms. While change is a constant in life, many people prefer the familiar, even when the familiar is limiting or unhealthy. This resistance can be seen in both minor aspects of life, such as resisting new routines, and in major life decisions, like resisting career shifts, relationships, or lifestyle changes. The result is that individuals stay stuck in situations that don't serve their growth, and they miss opportunities to evolve and thrive. At its core, resistance to change is rooted in fear. Fear of failure, fear of uncertainty, and fear of the unknown often paralyze us and make change seem like a daunting task. This fear can be so powerful that it leads people to stay in jobs they don't enjoy, relationships that are not fulfilling, or habits that are detrimental to their well-being. The more someone resists change, the more they inadvertently sabotage their own growth, living in a state of stagnation instead of moving forward. The psychological roots of resistance to change. Fear of the unknown. The unknown is one of the most significant factors behind resistance to change. When faced with new possibilities, there is often a sense of unease or apprehension because we do not know what lies ahead. This fear of the unknown triggers the brain's fight-or-flight response, pushing us to avoid taking action, even if the potential change might bring growth or improvement. Comfort in familiarity. Humans are creatures of habit, and we naturally gravitate toward what feels safe and familiar. Familiar environments, routines, and relationships provide a sense of stability and control. The discomfort of change can feel overwhelming, making it hard to step outside of one's comfort zone. Even when change might lead to a better situation, the initial discomfort of adapting to new circumstances can make it seem undesirable. Self-doubt and low confidence. For many people, resisting change is a way of protecting their self-esteem. There is often a deep-rooted belief that one isn't capable of handling change or succeeding in a new environment. This lack of self-confidence can make it difficult to take risks or try something new. Instead of embracing change, individuals may stay in their current state because it feels safer or more predictable, even if it is ultimately unsatisfying. Perfectionism. Perfectionism can also fuel resistance to change. Individuals who strive for perfection often fear making mistakes or failing, which can prevent them from trying new things. The idea of having to adapt, learn, and possibly fail during the process of change is enough to make them resist it altogether. The fear of imperfection often outweighs the potential benefits of change, keeping them stuck in their old patterns. The impact of resisting change on personal growth. Resisting change holds people back from realizing their full potential. While it's natural to feel some level of discomfort when faced with change, resisting it can have a range of negative consequences that prevent individuals from living up to their best selves. Stagnation. The most immediate consequence of resisting change is stagnation. When people don't embrace new opportunities, they stay stuck in the same patterns and experiences. This leads to a lack of growth and progress, both personally and professionally. Stagnation can make life feel monotonous, uninspiring, and unfulfilling. Without change, there is no chance to develop new skills, discover new passions, or experience personal transformation. Missed opportunities. By resisting change, individuals miss out on opportunities that could enhance their lives. Change often brings new experiences, new people, and new possibilities. When someone is stuck in their old ways, they miss out on these chances to expand their horizons. This leads to feelings of regret and dissatisfaction, as they realize that their resistance to change has cost them opportunities for improvement. Decreased adaptability. Change is inevitable, and those who resist it become less adaptable in the face of life's natural shifts. The world around us is constantly evolving. Technology, social dynamics, and economic conditions are always changing. Those who resist change may find it increasingly difficult to cope with the demands of a rapidly evolving world. Over time, this lack of adaptability can leave them behind, both in personal and professional settings. Negative mindset and frustration. The act of resisting change can also lead to a negative mindset. When people resist change, they often become frustrated with their circumstances. They may feel like they are trapped in a situation that they cannot control, which leads to feelings of helplessness and dissatisfaction. This negative attitude toward change breeds unhappiness and discontent, further reinforcing the habit of resistance. Low self-esteem. When individuals resist change, they often reinforce the belief that they are incapable of adapting or improving. This can diminish their sense of self-worth and confidence. They may start to view themselves as stagnant or unsuccessful, contributing to a downward spiral of self-doubt. Over time, this lack of self-esteem can prevent individuals from taking the necessary steps to change and improve their lives. Why people resist change. A deeper dive. Fear of failure. One of the most significant reasons people resist change is the fear of failure. The unknown can seem overwhelming, and people often worry that they will not succeed in whatever new endeavor they pursue. This fear paralyzes them, making them cling to what is familiar, even if it's no longer beneficial. The fear of failure can create a barrier between where someone is and where they could be, preventing them from achieving their goals. Loss of control. Change can often feel like a loss of control. When people are forced to adapt to new circumstances, they may feel that their environment or circumstances are no longer predictable or within their control. This can cause anxiety, as many individuals find comfort in knowing what to expect and having a sense of control over their surroundings. The fear of losing control often holds them back from embracing the changes that could be beneficial. Social pressure. Sometimes, the resistance to change comes from external sources. Family, friends, colleagues, or societal expectations can impose limits on personal growth and development. People may resist change because they fear judgment or criticism from others. There is also the fear of disappointing others or not living up to the expectations that society has placed on them. These external pressures can keep individuals stuck in situations that don't align with their true desires or potential. Emotional attachments. People often resist change because of their emotional attachments to the past. Whether it's a relationship, a place, or a career, letting go of something that has been a significant part of their life can be emotionally challenging. These attachments can create a sense of loss or grief, which makes it difficult to move on. The emotional weight of these attachments keeps individuals from embracing change, even when it would ultimately lead to a better future. How to overcome the habit of resisting change. Cultivate an open mind. Embracing change requires an open mind. One of the best ways to overcome resistance is to approach change with curiosity instead of fear. Rather than focusing on what might go wrong, try to shift your focus toward the potential benefits of change. By seeing change as an opportunity for growth rather than a threat, you can begin to embrace it more readily. Take small steps. If the idea of large-scale change feels overwhelming, start small. Taking incremental steps toward change allows you to build confidence and reduce the fear associated with it. Whether it's adopting a new habit, exploring a new hobby, or making a minor adjustment in your routine, small steps can help ease you into the process of change without feeling overwhelmed. Reframe the narrative. Instead of focusing on the negative aspects of change, try to reframe the narrative. Rather than seeing change as something to fear, view it as an opportunity to evolve and grow. Remind yourself that change is often a natural part of life and can lead to greater fulfillment, success, and happiness. Seek support. If you find it difficult to embrace change on your own, seek support from others. Whether it's friends, family, mentors, or a professional, talking through your fears and concerns with someone can provide valuable perspective and encouragement. Surrounding yourself with a support system can help you feel more confident in making changes and navigating unfamiliar situations. Practice self-compassion. Change can be difficult, and it's important to be kind to yourself during the process. Understand that change takes time and effort, and it's okay to experience discomfort. By practicing self-compassion, you can reduce the fear of failure and the pressure to be perfect. Give yourself permission to make mistakes and learn from them, rather than seeing them as setbacks. Habit 10. Focusing on external validation. Focusing on external validation is a common habit that many individuals struggle with, often without realizing how detrimental it can be to their mental strength and personal development. External validation refers to seeking approval, praise, or recognition from others to feel worthy, appreciated, or successful. While a certain degree of external feedback is natural and can be motivating, when this becomes a habit, it can create a dependency on others' opinions, leaving us vulnerable to the whims of others and detracting from our own internal sense of self-worth. This habit often stems from deep-seated insecurities or societal conditioning that places value on external accomplishments, appearances, or achievements. In a world driven by social media, likes, comments, and public approval, it's easy to fall into the trap of seeking validation from others instead of cultivating a strong, resilient sense of self. The problem with this dependency on external validation is that it can lead to anxiety, feelings of inadequacy, and an unstable sense of identity. When we base our self-worth on the approval of others, we become subject to their fluctuating opinions, and our emotional well-being becomes tied to something external and unpredictable. The psychological roots of seeking external validation. Low self-esteem. A key reason people seek external validation is rooted in low self-esteem. When we don't believe in our own worth, we look to others to fill that gap and provide us with reassurance. Instead of having an intrinsic sense of value, we rely on others' opinions to feel good about ourselves. This external dependency on validation reinforces the belief that we are only as valuable as others perceive us to be. Fear of rejection. The fear of rejection is another driving force behind seeking external validation. Human beings are inherently social creatures, and the desire to be accepted and loved by others is a fundamental part of our psychological makeup. This fear of being rejected or disliked often leads us to seek validation from external sources in order to ensure that we are seen as worthy and acceptable in the eyes of others. Societal expectations and social media. In the modern world, societal pressure plays a significant role in fostering the habit of seeking external validation. Social media platforms, in particular, create an environment where validation is sought through likes, shares, and comments. These external markers of success and popularity create a false sense of achievement, encouraging individuals to constantly measure their worth by the approval they receive from others. The constant need for social approval can lead to a never-ending cycle of comparison and self-doubt. Perfectionism and the desire for approval. Perfectionism often ties directly into the habit of seeking external validation. People who set unattainably high standards for themselves may look to others for approval as a way to confirm that they are meeting those standards. Instead of embracing their authentic selves, they present a curated version of themselves to the world, hoping that their perfection will be acknowledged and appreciated. The impact of focusing on external validation. Emotional instability. One of the most significant consequences of focusing on external validation is emotional instability. When we derive our sense of self-worth from the opinions of others, our emotions become dependent on their reactions. If we receive praise, we feel good. If we face criticism or rejection, we feel inadequate. This emotional roller coaster can leave us feeling constantly on edge, as we seek validation from an unpredictable external source. Inauthenticity. When we focus on external validation, we often begin to shape our behaviors, beliefs, and actions to align with what we think others expect from us, rather than what is true to ourselves. This leads to inauthenticity, as we present a version of ourselves that seeks approval rather than expressing our genuine thoughts, feelings, and desires. Over time, this disconnection from our true selves can lead to feelings of emptiness and dissatisfaction. Increased stress and anxiety. Seeking external validation creates an environment of stress and anxiety, as we constantly strive to meet the expectations of others. The pressure to be perfect, successful, or well-liked can lead to burnout, exhaustion, and feelings of inadequacy. When we place our worth in the hands of others, we are never truly at peace, because we are always trying to live up to external standards that may be unrealistic or unfair. Lack of self-confidence. External validation weakens self-confidence because it reinforces the idea that we are not enough on our own. Instead of developing the belief that we are valuable and capable regardless of others' opinions, we rely on their praise to feel good about ourselves. This lack of self-confidence creates a vicious cycle, where we continually seek validation to feel worthy, but we are never truly satisfied, because that external validation is fleeting. Comparison and jealousy. One of the most common outcomes of seeking external validation is the tendency to compare ourselves to others. Social media, in particular, encourages this behavior, as it provides a constant stream of curated images and accomplishments that others share. When we constantly measure our worth against others, we often feel inadequate, jealous, or envious. These feelings of comparison prevent us from focusing on our own growth and happiness, trapping us in a cycle of self-doubt and dissatisfaction. Why we seek external validation. Cultural and societal influence. From a young age, we are taught to seek validation from external sources. Whether it's through academic achievements, job promotions, social approval, or even material possessions, society places a high value on external markers of success. This constant reinforcement of external validation creates a belief that our worth is determined by what others think of us. As a result, we become conditioned to look outside ourselves for affirmation instead of cultivating a healthy internal sense of value. Desire for belonging. The desire to belong to a group or community is a fundamental human need. When we seek validation from others, it is often driven by the fear of rejection or being left out. We want to be seen, heard, and accepted by those around us, and receiving external validation is often seen as a confirmation of our place in a group. While belonging is important, it should not come at the cost of losing our individuality or compromising our authenticity. Temporary boost in confidence. External validation can provide a temporary boost in confidence. When others praise us or acknowledge our achievements, we feel momentarily good about ourselves. However, this boost is fleeting, and we often find ourselves needing more external validation to maintain that high. The problem arises when we begin to rely on this validation as a constant source of confidence, rather than cultivating a lasting sense of self-worth. Social comparison. The concept of social comparison plays a major role in the habit of seeking external validation. We compare ourselves to others in an attempt to measure our success or value. This is often exacerbated by social media, where people post only the highlights of their lives, creating an illusion of perfection that we feel compelled to match. By constantly comparing ourselves to others, we seek validation that we are good enough or successful enough, according to the standards set by others. How to overcome the habit of focusing on external validation. Build self-awareness. The first step in overcoming the need for external validation is developing self-awareness. Reflect on your actions, thoughts, and behaviors to understand why you are seeking validation from others. Recognizing when and why you rely on external approval will help you understand the root cause of this habit and begin to shift your focus inward. Develop self-worth from within. The key to overcoming the need for external validation is to build self-worth from within. Recognize your value as an individual, independent of external opinions. Focus on your strengths, acknowledge your achievements, and accept yourself as you are. When your sense of worth comes from within, you no longer need validation from others to feel good about yourself. Practice self-compassion. Learning to be kind to yourself is essential in breaking the habit of seeking external validation. Understand that it is okay to make mistakes, experience failure, or not meet others' expectations. Practice self-compassion by treating yourself with the same kindness and understanding that you would offer a friend. This will help you develop a healthier relationship with yourself, reducing the need for external validation. Embrace authenticity. Embrace who you truly are, without worrying about how others perceive you. Authenticity is key to building a life that is not dependent on external approval. Be true to yourself, even if it means stepping outside of societal expectations or breaking free from the pressure to conform. The more authentic you are, the more you will attract the right people and experiences into your life. Limit social media exposure. Social media can be a major source of external validation, as it creates an environment where likes, shares, and comments serve as measures of worth. Consider limiting your exposure to social media or setting boundaries around how much time you spend on these platforms. This will help you stop comparing yourself to others and reduce the pressure to seek validation from online sources. Celebrate your own achievements. Take time to celebrate your own successes, big or small, without waiting for someone else's approval. Recognize your growth and take pride in your progress. Celebrating your own achievements helps reinforce your sense of self-worth and reduces your dependence on external validation. Practice gratitude. Focusing on gratitude can help shift your mindset from seeking validation to appreciating what you already have. By cultivating a daily practice of gratitude, you'll begin to see the value in your life and accomplishments, reducing the need to seek external approval to feel worthy. Conclusion: embracing Buddhism for mental strength. Life is filled with challenges, but we can build mental strength and resilience by applying Buddhist teachings in our daily lives. Letting go of negative habits and replacing them with positive, mindful practices takes time and effort. However, when we truly understand the impermanence of life, the law of karma, and the value of mindfulness, we realize that mental strength comes not from external victories, but from the inner peace we cultivate.